South Africans may be in for a bleak Christmas. With fuel prices edging closer to the 20 Rand mark, food prices will mostly escalate as well. What does this mean for the average South African? Executive Director at AgriSA, Christo is joining us now live from Pretoria to discuss this matter. Christo, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. From an AgriSA perspective, I mean, when fuel prices go up like they have been doing this much, it really affects the whole value chain that will end up, or the price of the shelves in a supermarket being higher.
Indeed, we've seen that according to Stats SA, the food inflation rate has been creeping up steadily. It's now in the region of 5%, and that's not very good for overall inflation in South Africa. That means that food prices are on the rise, and there's a number of factors for that, which I will come to later on. But yes, we're going to see more expensive agricultural products and other products on the shelves throughout the month of December and even January. Okay, now just as a farmer uses fuel as well to produce their goods, and also they would buy things like fertilizer, and the fertilizer factory also uses fuel to produce the fertilizer. So the price increase comes all the way from that position in terms of the production chain. We are very concerned about the sharp increases in inputs, agricultural inputs. We've seen a massive rise in the price of diesel and petrol. We've also seen a massive spike in the prices of fertilizer, because we import approximately 80% of all the fertilizer from international companies. And the reason for the sharp increase in fertilizer prices is obviously massive logistical problems that have been experienced internationally, as well as an increase in the price of energy costs, gas and so forth, and also the shortage of certain ingredients that international players require to, at the end of the day, produce fertilizer. In addition to that, we've seen increase in the price of packaging, also increase in the price of herbicides, and that makes it very, very challenging for farmers to continue to produce food competitively. So if you can't produce food competitively, then you have to pass on somehow the increase, and hence when we end up with the food on our shelves, we have to pay more. Is there nothing that, with these fuel price hikes, that could soften the blow? Remember, farmers are not responsible for the cost at the end of the day. Farmers in general are price takers, and that places a massive burden on farmers. Although they are the biggest risk takers throughout the entire value chain, they are the ones that also, at the end of the day, have to bear the burden, because they are not necessarily taking the profits of these increases. The profit takers are your middlemen as well as your retailers in many cases. But I want to emphasize, we are really shooting ourselves in the foot as South Africa. We have one of the biggest fertilizer suppliers on our doorstep. That's Phosphor, and we need to make sure that production at Phosphor is optimized, and that it is benefiting the South African agriculture sector, so that we can pass on better prices for the consumer out there. In addition, we've got Sasol that produce petrol from coal, and we need to look at that. How can we optimize that as well? But the other big challenge is obviously the levies, petrol levies that is charged by government. That constitute almost 23 to 24% of the petrol price and diesel price. And we need to ask ourselves whether those levies that are currently charged by government is really to the benefit of the farming sector, because a large percentage of that levies must be used to fix our roads. But if you look at the conditions of our roads in many provinces, especially in the rural areas, then it is really detrimental to optimization of the logistic network that is so critical to transport agricultural products from point A to point B to point C.
Are there categories of the farming produce that we should expect to go up more? I mean, would we be expecting the price, for example, of meats, poultry and eggs and dairy and the rest, wheats and vegetables and fruits? Which ones should we expect to be paying more for come Christmas?
We've seen that meat prices are also on the rise due to high production costs and the rising feed cost. Weaner calf prices are already up by 13% if you compare it with last year. Kilogram of Class A beef averages around 53 rand, and then also that constitute a 3.5% year-on-year increase. Lamb and mutton prices are also up by 11%, and we know that these prices will continue to increase as the demand rises over the December period. And then poultry prices have risen by 22%. Also, vegetable prices are also on the increase. So yes, we really feel for the consumers out there. But if we can find ways and means, and it is in our ability to make sure that our input prices are lowered, and I think in this regard, government can play a very big role, then we hopefully will be able to stabilize the increase of prices of these commodities.
Yeah, before I let you go, Christo, we're talking about the impact of fuel price hikes on farming, and that's why we're having this conversation and what the likely price rises are going to be come December. But what about electricity for the farming community? I mean, currently the whole country is in stage 4 of Eskom's blackouts.
The shortage of electricity, as well as the fact that we are now at stage of level 4, it has a massive impact on our farmers too, especially those farmers who are now harvesting of grapes. This is the December month is a critical harvesting season of deciduous fruit, table grapes, and your summer grain crops. And if farmers do struggle to, or if the integrity of the cold chain is in any way compromised, that has a massive impact on the quality of goods that we export and that we supply to the local market. So we've had a discussion this morning with Eskom, and hopefully we can come back to normality, because this has a massive impact, not only on the increase in terms of production costs, but also on the impact of the quality of goods that we supply to markets throughout the world and to South Africa in particular.
Okay, Christo van der Rheede, thank you very much from AgriSA. We were talking to him because of the impact of fuel price increases, but at the end I asked him about the impact of Eskom's power cuts as well, and he said they had a meeting this morning as AgriSA with Eskom to discuss the consequences on the agricultural sector.